Emotional body variance. What do you do when someone close to you in your life has a totally different emotional language, a way of expressing themselves when it comes to their deeper feelings? This has been a source of conflict for a lot of people because the result often feels like I'm not seen, I'm not heard, I'm not honored by the other, when in fact there's a really sacred middle ground, a mystical terrain, if you will, that people can go to through conscious intent to be able to have clarity, understanding, and deep bonding and resonance with each other, even if the emotional bodies are not outwardly expressed the same way. For example, some people, when they feel sadness or happiness, it comes out through tears. For some people, they are comfortable in vulnerability. For other people, they either have trained themselves to compartmentalize or really stay more in the mental plane than allowing it to shift into the heart realm and then be amplified energetically through emotion. Either way, there's a coming together through an intention of relaxation, something I was talking about in a previous educational module. And this space of mutual relaxation, of breathing and allowing oneself to melt into the human's most natural state and then communicate from there. It changes the outcome of what would typically be hitting a wall or butting heads, coming from ego, coming from that sense of desperation and urgency to be heard. When the heightened frequency of chaos can calm into the natural frequency of relaxation, we're able to see that the other is self. There's a recognition of divinity and an embodiment of wholeness. That validation doesn't need to come from another, even though the thoughts and feelings and well-being of our closest, intimate loved ones matter to us. There is a place that relaxation brings us to, where divine embodiment and recognition of one's wholeness can blossom fully into the light of that space where breath really allows the chaos and the clutter to clear, and the ever-present calmness that is always there, gently pulsing in every moment in the fabric of existence, can be actually felt and worked with. So everything is energy, energy medicine, everything is frequency, frequency, frequency. When we're mindful of what frequency we're generating and emanating, even when we go into spaces where we're communicating with somebody that has a different emotional body and way of expressing emotions, making a commitment to come to those spaces of understanding not only clears toxic, long-standing emotions like anger, but actually becomes a life practice of getting in touch with one's most inherent state. And that's what it's all about. That space of relaxation as a way of being, because that's where clarity exists the most. So when communicating with somebody who may want to stay in the intellectual realm and have a debate, have a head-to-head back and forth with another person who's more heart-centered and wants to go to a space of authentic vulnerability and feeling and say, my deepest truth is this. I would love to know yours. Some people say, well, feelings come and go, but so do thoughts. And so in allowing all the aspects of our consciousness that pass to pass, what's left is what you can work with and pay attention to, that underlying ever-present peacefulness, and compassion. It really is there. It doesn't so much have to be harnessed or built up over time. It already exists and is embedded in the human being. So the coming down deep into oneself, looking into the other's eyes and going to a place of really deep intimacy, even if it's a friend, a neighbor, a colleague, it doesn't matter who it is. It has no sexual tone to it. It has a deeply spiritual connectivity to go to that space of long, slow breath, mindful breathing, eye contact, and letting the body really align with the energy of the divine. Then when communication occurs, it's extraordinary. It's from a place of, what are we doing? This is who we really are. There's nothing we can't come to a space of understanding about that can lead us to solutions for whatever our challenge or problem is. There's always a way. Love, compassion, relaxation are the way to get to that solution or resolution that two people with different emotional bodies are striving to reach. I was experiencing this in the past week when I felt like my very clear way of communicating and my authentic vulnerability, rawness of emotion, even though it's being expressed in a balanced and healthy way, it wasn't being received by the person that my expressions were emanating towards. And I noticed this sense of two inner children within us just screaming to be loved, to be seen and heard. And it gets to the point where making a point just goes out the window, because you soften in those moments where you see that the inner child is still there in a big person's body, looking out from the soul windows of the eyes, saying, love me, understand me. I'm not here to harm or dismiss you, but I'm missing out on my own personal sense of recognition and wholeness in this moment, which is why I was pleading with a desperate urgency or a fear-based urgency or a heightened frequency state to be seen and heard. I needed it from outside of myself. I thought I needed it from you, the other. And that's why relaxation is so powerful, because it brings us back to that recognition of our divinity and wholeness. Then you got two souls able to communicate with words or not, with expressions of emotion or not, in a space that is unmistakably getting you somewhere. A space where there's no blocks in that space. There's no bumps in that space. It's smooth, it's clear, it's breathable in that space of mutual relaxation. It does take two willing parties, but it's a great thing to talk about with those that you're in close relationship with, because those moments are going to come. And if you've already noticed, we express ourselves differently. And sometimes it's like two ships passing in the night. And this would be a great way to not miss out on those nuggets where we can expand our heart. These are opportunities that are always popping up if we pay attention to them, to evolve alongside our loved ones, not leaving them behind, but extending, inviting them into the space where together you can go further through space and time than you can alone. We are an interdependent species that has these amazing relationship skills and emotional spectrum that no other species has. And so to tap into what this unique gift is and how we can use it to create more beauty, love, joy, and harmony, there's nothing better. And there's nothing more powerful than softening. I've said before, a lot of people call this era that we're in the Great Awakening. And while it is that, simultaneously, it is a great softening. We're letting down our protective shields, our defense guards, our egos, our veils of illusion, to see one another as we really are, precious. And in that space of precious recognition, literally anything is possible.